There's a story that just came out today that OpenTheBooks.com, as you know, watchdog group who tracks government's reports, of payment reports, I should say, and is reporting that the federal government made nearly $3 trillion in improper payments over the last 20 years, but we reached a record level last year with about $250 billion in bogus payments. And it cited HHS as being number one. I guess it's great to be first or number one in something maybe, but HHS was the worst agency of all, and it reported that Medicaid had about $80 billion in improper payments, and Medicare had about $46 billion, so combined together it was right at $127 billion. Can you just share some thoughts on that?
I've not seen those reports, but I will tell you that we know that there are people who are always trying to game the system. Medicaid and Medicare, some of the largest programs in the country, certainly are ripe for that. That's why our budget calls for more money for program integrity so we can go after those fraudsters. We know that for every dollar...
So why would we give more money to manage something when we've got $127 billion in bogus payments last year? Why would the answer be to spend more money?
Well, the Inspector General, our oversight and law enforcement agencies would need to do oversight in order to recoup some of that money from fraudsters.
So $127 billion in improper payments, and your solution is to spend more money. Let me ask about the border. Let me ask about the border.
It's to make sure we do the oversight.
Let me ask about the border, so I reclaim my time. Do you think the United States has operational control of the border?
No, so you're asking me a question that's outside of HHS's jurisdiction.
Do you believe the United States has operational control of the border?
I think the U.S. government has done yeoman's work in trying to make sure that we can protect Americans.
Do you think that the United States has operational control of the border?
I think the federal government is proving that we can manage the border.
What would a loss of operational control of the border look like?
I'm sorry?
What would a loss of operational control of the border look like? How would you define a loss of control if this is control?
So if we're leading to something relating to the jurisdiction of my department, HHS, I'm more than willing to try to answer. Otherwise, I think you're more appropriately...
Well, HHS is more involved with the border than they've ever have been under this administration. So what would a loss of operational control of the border look like if this is control of the border?
Again, Carson, I could talk to you about my personal views, but if you wish to know what the federal government should be doing with regard to the border, I would urge you to continue to ask questions of the Department of Homeland Security.
The ORR, or Office of Refugee Resettlement, has lost contact with more than 85,000 migrant children last year.
That's not true, sir. That's not true.
Well, what is the accurate
We've not
status?
lost contact with kids. Well, once we place those children, we lose jurisdiction over those kids. And so we can't lose people we don't have jurisdiction over.
Well, so what percentage of the 85,000 would you say that your department has followed up with in the last 2 years?
We try to follow up with every child that we place in the custody of a vetted sponsor. Whether the child or the sponsor choose to reply or respond to our efforts to reach them is another matter, because Congress did not give us the authority to make them respond to us. So we reach out to every child. We try to contact the child. We try to contact the sponsor. It's no guarantee that we're going to get that child or sponsor to respond to our overtures.
There's reports that migrant children have been found working in slaughterhouses, operating machinery, doing other hard labor jobs. Yes. Do you believe your department's adequately screening UACs?
I don't believe that these children are receiving the oversight protections when an employer or a company is violating their labor rights. But we don't have jurisdiction to try to enforce against violations of child labor laws. That's not within our jurisdiction. Even the Department of Labor would tell you they don't have enough resources and personnel to go out there and inspect all these work sites the way they should.
In a recent oversight committee hearing, the ORR director admitted that only a third, or 37%, of UACs ended up with a parent. Do you agree with that assessment?
I think that number is pretty accurate, that about a third of the kids that we place are placed directly with the parent. And if those kids aren't placed with the parent, the chances are they're being placed with a close relative of that child.
Biden plans to rescind the Trump rule exempting individuals and entities from the contraception mandate on moral convictions. Given that the District Court for District of Columbia decision in March for Life versus Burrell, how does your department's proposed rescission not violate the Constitution and religious liberties?
I'm sorry, can you state the question again?
I'm out of time. I'll yield back, Chairman.
The gentleman can submit his question, and we can ask a response in writing from the secretary.